Here's a video to show you what I was expecting and what I was hoping for on the t-shirt order and why. So if I were to look at, I have beside me some sample code or the solution, which is also posted in Canvas, and I have the assignment that's listed beside me. And I really didn't want you to deviate from the requirements. The requirements were posted for reasons, and that was because there was objectives I wanted you to get from this assignment. So some of you created different functions, some of you didn't follow the guidelines of the way these functions were set up. So I'm going to walk you through what I was expecting. And so if you read the directions, it said first create a main function, which is our entry point to the program. So a main function was created. The function will ask for the shirt size and the text of the message. So that's coming from here. Ask for the shirt size and for the description. Then you want to write a function called confirm shirt that accepts the size and the message. So that's very specific. It needs to have arguments that are sent to this function from here, so this function's receiving the size and the description. So in other words, the user types in something in the size, types in something in the description. Those values are plugged into these variables, which are sent to confirm shirt, which is a function that's defined down here. And in confirm shirt, coincidentally, these variables are named the same thing, but they don't have to be. So this function is receiving those two pieces of data from the main, and now locally it can do something with it. And so what does the direction say? The function should print a sentence summarizing the size and the message. So the objective here is that I wanted to make sure you understood how to send data to this function. This is why I outlined these specifically. So this function should receive two pieces of data. And then once it receives those two pieces of data, it's printing them out. The next thing it says is ask the user to confirm the t-shirt purchase and return the answer back to the main. So that's a key piece. That's an objective I wanted you to demonstrate. And so confirm says, user, is this what you wanted? And they're going to type in yes or no. And then I'm going to return back to the main that response. And so in order to return that value, whatever was put into confirm, all I need to do is write the word return and confirm, and that's going to send that input back to this right here in this line of code, right here. So this whole line was just ran. Oops, I don't want to undo my work there. And then return says, all right, now that I'm done with this function, whatever is in this variable, send that back to the location where you came from. So I came from here. That returned value is then put into this confirm. So, and this could have been something else. This could be confirmed just for a different verbiage, so you recognize that the variables are not they're not the same. That I'm literally handing data to this function, literally handing data to this function and to these variables. This variable is doing something with that data internally within its own self. It can't see anything outside of itself. It can only see the data that was sent to it. It's going to do something with it, in this case print it out, get some value, and return it back to where the program came from. And so because I'm returning data back with this return word, when I come back, I've got to put that data into a bucket so that I have a hold of it. And so I'm going to put it into this variable called confirmed, which I've now changed just so you're not confused with the fact that this confirm, and this confirm are not the same. It's data that I sent back and then put into a new variable. So now that confirmed has received the input that the user put into this function down below, I can do something with it. I think it says the main then checks to see if the user confirmed the purchase. So once that data is sent back, I'm going to confirm, figure out what it was that was sent back from that function, and I'm going to do something with it here in the main. And so the main function then checks to see if the user confirmed the purchase, and then if the answer is yes, the size and message should be added to a shopping cart array, either multidimensional or parallel. So here we're attaching this is using a multidimensional array. Okay, and then the user should be able to enter in as many shirts as they wish, which is why I have a while loop, so they can keep doing this over and over and over again until they finally say, no more, I'm all done. And then the next requirement says display order should accept the shopping cart array or arrays, depending how you're doing that. So again, this is to demonstrate a concept. This is an objective. I wanted you to send the array into the display order function, and from there print the information out. Now some of you felt that, and it worked, and I understand why you did it. Some of you put in a global array, so you put up here global and then whatever the array was. I don't even know what my array is, array order. And I acknowledge that, but I didn't ask you to do that, and I don't want you to do that. And the reason for that is it makes sense right now, and I understand why you would be wanting to do it. It's like, why can't I just have order available to all of my functions? And while I would agree with you, again, this class is about my trying to develop foundations for you, so when you move on to next semester, you will have some solid foundations in place. And one of those solid foundations is that we don't want to have access to a global variable. The whole purpose of functions is that they stand alone, that they can exist all by themselves. In other words, they don't depend on some variable that was set outside of the scope of them. These functions should be self-reliant. In other words, whatever I got into these variables is what I need in order to run, and then I'm going to send some data back. That is the whole concept behind object-oriented programming, which is where you're headed. It's not where we are right now, but it's where we're headed. And so if you get into the habit of just, oh, I need this variable available to everything that I do, I'm just going to make it global up here. So then I have it, and I don't have to send it to display order despite what the instructions asked me to do. I can just do that and it'll work. Yes, it will work, but I don't want you to get into that habit, because again, I'm trying to get you some solid foundations, so when you get into your next semester and you start talking about object-oriented programming, you're not going to have this ability to, or you're going to very rarely, or you're going to see where global variables aren't something that you should be your go-to, as far as I'm always going to just set it globally. It is not a go-to, and in fact, more often than not, this is the way things are done. So that's why I want you to get into that habit. So when I give you directions, it's not for you to read and sort of decide, oh, how do I want to do this? Oh, this works better. I can just do it this way. She doesn't know what she's talking about. There's specific reasons why I have you set things up the way I've organized it, or the way I've asked you to do it. So if I ask you to write a method that accepts 2 arguments, there's a reason for that. And that's what I expect you to do on these assignments. So I'm hoping that this sheds some light to what you may have missed, or what I was trying to express when I graded your T-shirt assignment. Hopefully this sheds some light. If it doesn't, and you still don't understand, and you need more discussion about your own work as opposed to this generic one, then don't feel shy to email me and ask me, and we can talk about it. But hopefully this sheds some light on what and why this was set up the way it was.